Hello again, and welcome to another week of statistics, where this week we're going to get through just about all of Chapter 6 here, Sections 6.1 through 6.3. I'll say this is going to be one of our last weeks where we're covering 3 sections in a single week, and it fits just fine for this stuff, because honestly, Chapter 6, it's not my favorite chapter. It builds on some really interesting stuff in Chapter 5, and it sets up some really useful things for Chapter 7, but it's sort of stuck between two things that I consider a lot more valuable in themselves, and there's a little bit of ambiguity in here. It's just not quite as interesting to me. It's still decent, but understand that I think 5 and 7 are a bit more worthwhile. Anyway, here we're moving on to talk about things called confidence intervals, where in 6.1 we're introducing the idea of a confidence interval, and there's stuff in there for building it with z-scores, but for a very particular reason that I'll talk about in there. I don't really care for that method. So we're not going to do much with the z-score. Sort of trying to pull out of my head. Z-score confidence intervals. Mostly what we're going to do is look at stuff in 6.2 and 6.3, where in 6.2 we have work with the t-distribution, which is a close relative of the normal distribution, and it's a very valuable relative of the normal distribution for a specific reason we're going to see there. And in particular, I'm going to give you guys a chance to get some extra credit if you can tell me a bit about the history of the t-distribution. I'll talk more about that later on. And finally, we're finishing with 6.3, where we're talking about this idea of building confidence intervals in terms of proportions. Where technically speaking, there's a little bit of detail that's required to fully understand here that's in one of the sections I left as extra credit. That is 5.5, but we'll see the main things we need to in order to be able to handle this stuff. And then for this week, standard slate of work. And we're getting on to our week 9 worksheet. We're going to get some more practice with this stuff, same old type of thing, along with some homework for each of these sections, and then leading into a pre-assessment into our next week. So, nothing too special. Let's get on into Chapter 6.